Welcome to today's Brunch Dharma Talk, 19th of April, Sunday. Today I'm going to talk about attachment, which is related to clinging. Independent origination, depending on craving, clinging arises. Clinging is also associated with attachment. Depending on clinging, there is becoming. Now there's a reverse process as well. With the cessation of clinging, there is no becoming. With the cessation of craving, clinging does not arise. So if we want to stop becoming from arising, then we got to make sure that clinging ceases. When we don't want clinging to arise, then we got to let craving cease. That's what it means. Because the next state depends on the previous state. If the previous state is not there, the next stage cannot arise. There is no cause for it. Dependent origination means depending on a previous condition, the next condition arises. So when there is becoming, there is the previous stage of clinging. When there is clinging, there is the previous case and state of craving. Craving is the cause of clinging. Clinging is the cause of becoming. We have to understand that nothing else causes the rising of becoming but clinging. Nothing else causes the rising of clinging but craving. So, with the cessation of clinging, becoming does not arise. With the cessation of craving, clinging do not arise. So these are the things you have to keep in mind, keep in the heart. Something very simple. Don't make it complicated. Don't think that other things else is causing it. Right? If you start doing that, then you start looking at a cause, looking at something, a condition which doesn't contribute to it. Waste of time, waste of energy, and you're not solving the problem you have. So every time you have become, you know there has been prior clinging. And every time you reach the state of clinging, there has been the state of craving. Now clinging, there are kind of three stages of clinging. Like all things in life, things is just not one state itself. It is a spectrum of colors, When we talk about green color, there's no one green color. There's olive green, apple green, leaf green, and so many different types of leaf green, emerald green, right? So with clinging, the different stages. When we are craving for an object, we are craving for something, whether the object is a thing or a person. We are craving for the object to give us some result. And usually that result is a nice feeling. right? You find somebody and you say, well, maybe that can give me a feeling of love, right? You find an object, say a new phone, you say you might get a lot of pleasure from having this new phone, play new games in it. So that's the result you're looking at. You're craving for the object to obtain a result. So when there is constant craving, right, clinging starts to arise. And what we are clinging on to is holding on to that craving, clinging on to that craving, right? So when we cling on to that craving, to make sure we do not want to let go of it, because we are after the results it can give. The results of good feeling, nice feeling. So when that happens, our attachment becomes an attachment to the feeling that the object can bring us, right? But we still crave for the object because we associate with the object with the resultant feeling it could give us. So, well, if I get this girl or if I get this boy, I'll have a happy life. If I get this new phone, I'll be very satisfied. I can do everything I want. That's the result. Feeling satisfied. Or feeling better than others. There's the pride in it. Feeling good. Feeling superior. So the attachment is to the feeling, the result of obtaining this thing. So in that sense, when we try to break away that craving, that attachment, if we try to see that the object is no good or whatever, it doesn't work. It doesn't quite work. Right? No matter how much we say, well, the object is no good, it's this, it is that. You see, but the thing is that we are not attached to the object, we are attached to the result that the object can bring. But if we tackle the right thing and say, well, this object will not give you this nice feeling, right? Then we are tackling the right cause. The attachment is to the feeling. So therefore somebody says, oh, I like to go for a holiday in this nice island, I like to lie down on the beach and feel peaceful, smell the sea air, sunbathe in the cool sunshine, cool shade, cool shade. Now if we know this kind of feeling that exists in earth, then if we come and say, well, there's not usually the nice smell of sea air. Nowadays the sea is polluted. It might be a foul smell, and then usually nowadays you don't get a clean beach. You get beach with plastic bottle, glass, and a lot of rubbish that's washed up onto the beach. And then when you go on the beach, it's not always sunny. It might be raining. It might be too hot. So that's the realistic picture. Then you don't get this feeling. So if we break down, understand that the fantasized good feeling that we associate with this object, it's just a fantasy. It's something that's created. It's not realistic. Then we can cut that attachment. You know that most people, including ourselves, when we see another person, usually when you're courting, it's always about this fantasy, It's about this and what's going to happen. So that's the thing. That's the thing we want to tackle in order to cut off the craving, cut off the attachment. So when do the attachment turn into becoming? At the stage where we are attached to the good feeling, we couldn't let go of the result that we want, that is attachment. But the moment we try to hold on to it tightly, grasping, when we grasp at it, then that is becoming. When we hold on to it tightly, I want this result. There is always the arising of I want this result. And when the I arises, it is an unwholesome thing. Because this I will do anything, right, to get the results. If that's not mindfulness, not enough mindfulness, this I will go to even breaking the precepts. If the precepts not hold on to tightly, it will do that. Right? It will belittle the precept. It will think, well, it's not so important, or just this time, it isn't too bad if I break this precept. That kind of thing. And the reason it happened is because there is this strong grasping after what we wanted, strong grasping after the result. Now, remember, the result is not sure, right? But we have already grasped it. You say, this, if I get married to this man or this woman, all my problems in future is solved. I will lead a happy life. Right? The kind of uncertainty, we take it as something certain. We grasp onto it. So when that stage comes, we have to be aware of the object that we are grasping. The feeling that we want, the happiness that we want, they are all uncertain. Right? They are all created by the mind. What is created by the mind is always different from the way the world operates. The world operates on cause and effect. Right? The way we think depends on our conditioning. Depends on our condition. We are conditioned into thinking in a certain way, which is different from cause and effect. The results you get in the world is due to cause and effect. The result of our thinking is due to desire. Two different causes. We want a particular result. But the world works according to cause and effect. So there are two different causes. Definitely, there will be two different results. So you want to know that whatever you grasp at, first of all, it's something you have created. Not sure in this case. Right? It can or it will never happen. Or if it happens, it will happen slightly differently or even totally different. or you may not even get the result. So when we know that, we want to come back to the point of craving. At the time when we are craving, we are creating the result of getting this thing. Right? So we keep thinking, if I get this, I'll get this and that. And if I get this, they'll solve this and that. That's the time when we're creating this result of this craving. So at that point, we want to tell ourselves, it's not sure. Right? Not sure that I'll definitely get the result. I might think in this way, but I don't know the causes in the world. What causes there are in the world? Things like this pandemic that's happening. Nobody sees the cause. It happened. Nobody could ever imagine it can happen, because it's never in our conditioning. Now we've experienced it. It becomes part of our conditioning. Right? In future, we may be a little bit more aware. Not much, a little bit more aware. But it is not something which we desire, strongly desire, or strongly adverse. Right? It is something we strongly desire, and something which we are strongly adverse to. Then it is become part of our conditioning. We have had this pandemic before, the SARS, polio, chickenpox, smallpox, tuberculosis, lots of them. But we forget about them. So at whatever stage you are in, if you are in a state of clinging, you want to let the clinging cease. You want to know that whatever result that you are clinging on to, that is manufactured by your mind, by your heart. So if you are at a stage of craving, you want to tell yourself, what you think this will bring is not sure. Uncertain. Don't say it's not true. If you say it's not true, the other part of your mind will give a counter argument. Right? That's how our mind works. But when we say it's not sure, then the mind cannot work on something that's not sure. The other part of the mind cannot argue. Right? The other part of the mind usually is the unwholesome mind. See, the delusion and craving coming together to argue. The other side of the equation. But if we say not sure, and that's good enough. They cannot pick up and argue something which is not sure. What is there to argue? I'm not sure. I didn't say anything. I just say that it could happen, it could not happen. Right? If you say it can happen, I say not sure. If you say it can't happen, I say not sure. See? So that stops our mind from thinking. Stops our mind from debating further. It cools us down. It hits emptiness. Not sure it's emptiness, the teaching of emptiness. It hits emptiness. It cannot go beyond. There is no step beyond. There's no step in emptiness. You step into emptiness and everything falls. Everything sees into emptiness. Everything goes into emptiness. There's no step beyond emptiness. That's the end. So anytime you have an argumentative mind, but what's right, but what's wrong, You say not sure. And not sure is the truth. Because our thinking depends on our conditioning. Different people with different conditioning, different knowledge will reason differently. Right? No matter how good our reasoning is, it still comes to a condition. And the result we reach is just due to the assumptions we made. Nothing else. And the conclusion we reach is due to the assumptions we made. That's all. But there's one thing, to say not sure in one aspect towards thinking. But there are certain things, we have to make a decision. Things like somebody asks you whether you want a cup of coffee or tea. Don't say not sure, make a decision, either tea or coffee. Or it's up to you, Don't say not sure. Don't confuse these two things. There are certain simple things we have to make a decision, a choice, a simple choice. Right? Then we make that choice, or we leave that choice to somebody else. To say not sure at that time is to be indecisive. To say not sure in your thinking, the conclusion, the result, is different. It's to know emptiness. It's to use it as a way to stop thinking. It's to admit that our reasoning is due to our conditioning. So in conclusion, to stop becoming, you have to let clinging cease. To stop becoming, you have to break attachment. Loosen it, then to break it. To stop clinging, you have to let craving cease. That's all. Okay, now you've listened to the Dharma talk and hopefully change your view. Hopefully you picked up the methods of reducing suffering. And with that, you have merit. Listening to the Dharma and straightening your views. When you've done that, you want to get your bonus merit. Right. And you get your bonus merit by doing something good, by transferring the merit to your departed relatives. So now I'm going to chant the transference of merit, and when I'm chanting, start transferring, thinking in terms of transferring your merit to your departed relatives. All you have to think is, with this merit that I've got today, I'd like to transfer it to whoever it is. All my departed relatives. And there could be billions of them if you go to many, many generations. Okay? Yatha varivaha pura paripurente sagaram evam eva ito dinam petlanam upmakapati ichitam patitam tubham kipam iva samijatu sape purentu sankapa chando panaraso yatha manijoti raso yatha สัพพิติโยวิวาจันตุสัพพะโรโควินาศตุมาเตภวัตวันตรายโยสุขีติกายุโกภวะอภิวาทนาสีลิสนิจัมบุทธาปัจจายโนจัตตารโอธรรมวะดันติอายุวันโนสุขังพลังภาวตุสัพพมังคลังรักขันตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพพุทธานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภวันตุเตภาวตุสัพพมังคลังรักขันตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพธรรมานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภวันตุเตภาวตุสัพพมังคลังรักขันตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพสังฆานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภวันตุเต